How many of you can tell me how you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Now, through my vast life experiences of 18 years, I've heard this saying numerous times. Whether it was because I had a lot of homework for the week, was trying to finish a record book, or maybe things just weren't going my way, it always seemed to be a key phrase used by my parents. And it's probably used in many other families for the same reason. Now, what if I asked you, how do you destroy an industry? Same way you eat an elephant. One tiny piece at a time. Though this may seem crazy and far-fetched, it's actually a reality, and it's happening at this very moment. How many of you remember the infamous slaughter truck incident involving Walmart? This was simply a toy semi-truck with a cattle trailer, and last year, vegan activists petitioned the superstore to have it removed. How about the antibiotic resistance campaign adopted by Panera Bread, and most recently by Subway? All of a sudden, these tiny blips on the radar seem to make perfect sense. What seemed to be trifling problems at the time were actually small victories for the activists that are trying so desperately to destroy the beef industry. Now, this infamous slaughter truck toy, my brothers and I, and many of you, have probably played with ever since we can remember. And though the life-size version does transport cattle to the slaughterhouse, it is only a small portion of its purpose in the industry. These trucks and trailers serve as a vital source for ranchers to transport their cattle from operation to operation or to the market to be sold. With the term slaughter truck stamped on this image on every single social media website in the country, this valuable source of transportation just became a rolling death machine for cattle. What's to stop these activists from eliminating trucks and trailers from the road and top? How can we as farmers and ranchers protect ourselves and our livelihood from these small but very effective attacks? In the 1970s, right to farm statutes were established in all 50 states. These laws protected farmers from nuisance and trespass lawsuits, but sadly today, they are too specific to protect the expansive branches in agriculture. In recent years, Missouri and North Dakota have adopted constitutional amendments that better protect the right to farm in more effective and broad terms. In November, Oklahoma will also put this constitutional amendment on their ballot. State Question 777 better protects Oklahoma citizens and family farms from activist groups like HSUS. A little over 10 years ago, a feedlot in central Nebraska owned by the Timmerman family was forced to shut down due to urbanization. This feedlot had been a thriving business and a valuable source of jobs since the 1940s. But as home builders began moving in on the once remote facility and began complaining of the smell and harmful runoff, they were under attack. Now, the Timmerman family fought these allegations, but each year were still forced to downsize. Now remember, how do you eat an elephant? Despite the fact that the owners were well-respected businessmen in the area and took great pride in following the correct sanitation and safety procedures, the feedlot was forced to shut down. It all comes down to this. We are no longer fighting just to preserve our public image and prove that we operate with integrity. We are fighting to protect our livelihood, our life's passion, the task that was passed down from generation to generation to feed our growing world. We have been great stewards to God's land and animals and have provided a source of food and clothing to this great state for over 200 years. We are the backbone of this country, and it is time that we stand firm and create our own version of the right to farm in Texas. Thomas Jefferson said, "The only thing tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for good people of good conscience to remain silent." We must not remain silent on this issue any longer. For if we do, we will allow ourselves and our livelihood to be eaten away, one bite at a time. Thank you.
Good job. I'm going to switch you to a science question, okay?
So,
I'm reading an article about a Kansas State professor, Dr. Miller and Dr. Rasmussen's colleagues, touting how, he's a cow-calf specialist though, and he's touting how EPDs can be used in selecting individuals for herd replacement? What in the world is an EPD, and how would you use it to select and do your herd? Sorry about this microphone.
You're fine. Yes, sir. An EPD is actually an acronym for expected progeny difference, and what these do is it's a measurement, kind of an estimation of what the offspring of a bull or a cow is going to have. Certain traits are like what Mr. Worrell talked about yesterday, marbling, back fat, carcass weights, things like that. It's going to be your projection so that you can better prepare yourself for what offspring you're going to be raising. You can choose the bulls with the right carcass traits or the traits that you want in your herd and the right traits and match it with the right cow so that you can get the best out of your production.
All right, Luke, you're very polished, you know a lot, so you deserve a tougher question. What do you think? Yes or no?
Sounds good.
Okay, that's a good answer to that first question. All right, let's talk about something totally different. Get you outside your comfort zone. Let's talk about our industry's trade position. We haven't really discussed that yet this morning. Give me an update on what's going on in regards to our export markets right now. Anything you may offer in regards to what major countries that we're pushing towards, our exports at an all-time high, an all-time low, and what factor specifically is impacting our export strength right now?
Yes, sir. One thing that definitely always affects the exporting to other countries is the strength of the dollar. And currently, our dollar is weakening at the moment. And so exports are going to fall, or are actually going to pick up a little bit because it's cheaper to buy the beef. But it's actually detrimental to us because we're not able to gain that extra money selling to those other countries. So exports have picked up a little bit as far as strength of the dollar. A few things that have happened in the recent years is being able to pick up Japan after the mad cow scare and being able to reach an agreement on the age of beef that they're willing to accept has also opened up other doors to trade. And as far as anything recently in the past few months, no recent changes have been made in any trade deals that I know of. Thank you, sir.